Hello everyone, my name is Thomas and welcome to the first part of the multi-part series of the Beginner's Guide to Adobe Illustrator. In this video we're going to be talking about the splash screen and the capabilities that you have with it. So when you first open up Adobe Illustrator, you'll be greeted with this screen. This is the splash screen. Up at the top you have your presets. These are really common presets that you'll be using. On the right here we have a little advertisement. At the bottom, if you scroll down a little bit, you have your recent documents. I've moved a few of these files around, so that's why there's no thumbnail for these images. Yours won't have any documents. This will be just a blank gray screen. So if you've worked with Photoshop before, this will be a very similar process. The first thing will be creating a document. And you can go with the presets that are here. If you want to look at the other presets, you'll select this More Presets button, and a new screen will open. Here you'll find various presets. At the top is the tabs. You have your recent, your saved, your mobile, web, print, film, and video. If you've worked with Adobe Photoshop, you'll be very familiar with this. With film and video, you have HD 720s, 1080, 4K, 8K for print. You have letter A4 legal tabloid. And you'll notice this new units. You'll notice that these are all given in a different units. These are called points. If you want to see what a document size is in something like inches, what you'll do is you'll click it, say for instance letter. If you want to see it in inches, what you'll do is you'll come over to this right toolbar and you'll select points, and you'll have your units right here. And here we want inches, so then it'll give it an 8.5 by 11. If you want to create your own custom document size, you can just type in whatever size you need. So if your paper was 23 by 15, you can have it as such. If you want it in portrait or landscape, you click the orientation buttons right here. Portrait just means that it's taller than it is wide, and landscape is that it's wider than it is tall. So in portrait mode, it's 23 inches high by 15 inches wide. It's taller than it is wide. And the opposite for landscape, 23 wide, 15 tall. Artboards are something that are unique to some of the Adobe products. What it is essentially different workspaces. For instance, if you're creating, say, a flyer, a business card, a billboard, what you'll do is you'll create 3 different artboards. And at the beginning, they'll all be the same size, but we can adjust the sizes in a bit. But you can have, 3 different workspaces on the same document. So that way, if you're creating something like a logo design or a brand image, you can have all 3 of them side by side on the same document, and you can transfer over assets very quickly and conveniently. Bleed is used for print documents, stuff that's going to be printed. What it is basically a margin of space at the edge of the document. When stuff is printed, it's often kind of messily assembled together. For instance, like magazines, they're kind of printed in a way where the edges aren't very clean. And what they'll do is they'll just cut the edges off to create that smooth square finish. Well, what this bleed does is it creates a guide to tell you where you don't want to put any of your image if you don't want it cut off. So, for instance, if you have text that's scooted all the way to the side, you don't want that text too far over, otherwise you might get a letter cut off. So this is just like a margin on a page. And what you can do is increase it, so that way, say it's a 1/4 inch. And then when we open up the document, there will be a 1/4 inch bleed on the document. The next thing we'll do is we'll open up advanced options. And the one thing that we're going to be talking about is the color mode. So if you didn't watch the Photoshop tutorials, basically what color modes are the color spaces that the software will be using. Different color modes have different ranges of colors because of their different uses and applications. For instance, RGB color is used for screens. If you're working on something that's only going to be previewed on a screen, you're going to want RGB color, because RGB color doesn't have the limitations of physical ink. The little diodes within your computer screen, they can shine a lot brighter and a lot purer in color than the ink that is printed on a paper. So with RGB color, you have a wider range of colors that also are brighter. With CMYK color, this is the color space that your printer recognizes. This is what your printer can create. The CMYK stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and key, which is black. RGB stands for red, green, and blue, and those are the additive colors that create the colors on your screen. CMYK are called subtractive colors. What you need to know from that is just that when different combinations of these colors, cyan, magenta, yellow, and key, combine, they form different colors. The caveat with this is that the colors are not as bright. There's not as wide a range of colors that you can choose from. However, this will be what your printer will recognize, and the difference between what's on screen and what's being printed is a lot smaller when you use CMYK color space than between RGB. If you print something that's RGB and send it to a printer, the colors will be really dulled down because your printer cannot recreate the brightness of color that RGB allows. So depending on your use, dictates what color mode you'll use. For this, we're going to use CMYK color. For raster effects, I like to choose high. We won't get into what that means, but we'll just use 300 ppi, and then we'll just go with the default preview mode. And when you're done, what you'll do is you'll hit create, and your document will be set up. And that'll do it for this video. In the next video, we'll be talking about the user interface as well as some of the tools to get you started. But until then, I will see you in the next video. Have a good one.